Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I would like to start actually by, I omitted to do so first time, congratulating Simon Bridges for originating this bill, but in particular the Minister of Agriculture, because not only did he pick up this bill, but he has added in the single most important clause, which is the new clause of reckless ill treatment of animals. And furthermore, he has indeed increased the budget for the resourcing of inspectors. Because the reality is that the bill began its life really just extending the sentences for animal cruelty. And the reality is this isn't going to result in reduced numbers of prosecutions for animal welfare. The legislation already permits 3-year jail sentences, and yet we have really had anybody jailed. In fact, I think 10 people have ever been jailed in New Zealand history for animal welfare. So, and nobody has ever yet been jailed for a 3-year sentence. Most like the farmer Mark Smits, who slowly starved a number of his cattle to death, received some hours of community service. So let's not delude ourselves into thinking that by adding more years to sentences, we're going to reduce the number of prosecutions. Why did we vote for it? We voted for it because there is a new clause, there is a new category of reckless ill treatment of animals, and we hope that this new clause, this new category, will make it easier for MAF and the SPCA to prosecute prosecute for animal cruelty. We hope it will give them more leverage because, frankly, until now it has been very, very difficult to undertake prosecutions because of the law and because there's been really so few people around to take any prosecutions. So last year, MAF, in fact, between the years of 2007 and 2009, MAF only undertook 44 successful prosecutions. And there were, as someone has mentioned, only 5 inspectors. And yet we have 100 million odd animals here in New Zealand. Only 3% of the cases that MAF investigated resulted in a conviction, 0.3% of the cases of the SPCA. Actually, the reality was that the MAF had effectively abdicated its responsibility to the to monitor animal cruelty to the SPCA. And of course we know that 60% of the people who work for the SPCA, of the inspectors, are volunteers. Many of them work on a part-time basis, and they are the only enforcement agency in New Zealand that actually has to fundraise for itself and try to raise its own money. So that was the reality. It was very difficult under the legislation to bring charges, incredibly difficult for the SPCA because they don't even have proper funding, and the MAF had only 5 inspectors. So it's little wonder that we've had virtually no cases, or just a handful of cases of animal prosecution coming through every year. But we think it is great that we have now got the new category, which I think will make it easier to take these prosecutions, and we're now going to have 10 inspectors instead of just 5. And I hope more support for the SPCA too for the fantastic work they do. But they acknowledged in the hearings that there are many prosecutions they're unable to take simply because they do not have the resources to enable them to take that. As I have said previously, it is good to hear this Parliament actually debating the subject of animal cruelty, and let us hope that we will, having increased the legislation for prosecution of pets or individual acts of cruelty, that we will in fact turn our attention to the institutional cruelty, and let us hope that the pig code, which was promised, it was going to be completed last year, the revision of the pig code was going to be completed last year. It still hasn't been completed. We're still waiting for the pig code. We're still waiting for the code for hens, which was due also to be completed last year. Let us hope that when these finally surface, that we will, as a parliament, have the courage to address the institutional cruelty against animals.